Good evening, everybody. It is Wednesday, December 15th, 2021. And today, on Wednesday, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, we heard from Federal Chairman, or Fed Chair Jerome Powell, in relation to the rate hikes for next year. And Fed Chair Jerome Powell came off extremely hawkish, saying that they're expecting 3 rate hikes for next year, as well as they're going to start aggressively dialing back their asset purchases. But once the meeting concluded, all the major indices, the Dow Jones Industrial Average, the NASDAQ, and the S&P 500 were all severely in the negative. We reversed that and closed near the daily highs. The NASDAQ was up almost 2%. We'll talk about that today on the stream. Hey, NNB 045, what's going on? Hope you had a good day. Vinny Castellano, how are you? Mario Bowser is here. Santa Monica Rodriguez. What's going on? Nicholas is here. What's going on, everybody? We're only going to be on for about an hour. It's a little late, but I hope you're well. NNB 045 says, hi, Tom. I hope you had a great day at work. I did. Very busy day. It was Fed Day today on the street. We heard from Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell, and they actually came off quite a bit hawkish than I expected, more hawkish than usual. But it seems as if the market is not buying it. It seems as if all the big money managers on Wall Street are not believing the Federal Reserve that they're going to do any meaningful tapering. Hey, Grant Stetton is here, says, hey, Tom, what is going on, Grant? Michelle Cunningham says hello. Mario says, nice running the indices today. Yes, Mario, you are right. The NASDAQ took off. I think closed up more than 2%. S&P within spitting distance from new all-time record highs. Steve Rowe is here, says, good evening, Tom. Nicholas says, before I invest my time, I gotta ask, is this New York stream of Miami? New York stream of Miami. No. We are in downtown Miami tonight. But for some reason, I cannot change the thumbnail only after the video concludes. Hey, what's up, sunshine after rain? Hope you're well. Bowser's here. Melanie Sam, what's going on? Hey, Ken Kramer says semiconductors ripped today. Indeed, they did. It seems like we had a broad-based equities rally right after 2 p.m. So if you've noticed throughout the entire day, all the major equity indices were actually in the negative. The Dow, I think, was down almost 300 points. We reversed all of that and closed near the daily highs. Good to see you, Melanie Sam. Good to see you, Ken Kramer. Steve Rowe, Nicholas, Dante Rose says, hey, Tom, stay safe. Hey, what's up, Dan Blocks? Good to see you. It's a windy night, but there's good news. I'll be getting a mic soon. Hey, Solo401, how are you? Hope you're well. Hey, Latha, what's going on? Latha says, hey, Tom, glad to see you had a safe flight. I did have a good flight. Thank you, Latha. Hope you're well. It's only going to be a short stream tonight. It is windy. And it is pretty late. 45 says, so should we take the taper with a grain of salt? So that's what I'm doing, because essentially that is what the market is signaling, in my view. I think that a lot of the big money managers on Wall Street are not buying that the Federal Reserve is going to meaningfully taper or raise interest rates. However, I think to be conclusive about that, we definitely need a follow-through day tomorrow. Hey, what's up, Alan Wilson? Hope you're well. Alan Wilson says, good evening, everyone. How did we get to Miami? I went to sleep and we were in New York City. When I woke up, we were in Miami. Yeah, so that's one of the good things about being in New York City. It's very close to get to pretty much any city on the East Coast. It's only about a 2-hour flight. Hey, Mario says, XAU cleared the board today as well. Hey, Sally says, hi, Tom. Beautiful view. What's up, Sally? Good to see you. Hey, Bowser says, how windy is it, Tom? We probably have like 25-mile-an-hour winds here. But good to see you, Bowser. Michael Johnson says, hello. Weather looks good in Miami. The weather was great today. But we did have a crazy rainstorm about maybe an hour or so ago. Hey, Lena Sandoval is here. What's up, Lena Sandoval? Hope everybody had a good Wednesday. It's already almost Thursday. Already almost the end of the week. Kind of crazy. Damn blocks, this is out of McLaren. I'm not sure, but there's usually a lot of supercars over on this street, which we'll check out tonight. Good to see you, Dan Blocks. NNB045, good to see you. Alan Wilson, how are you? Hey, Edson says, hey, Tom, what's up? Good to see you. Good to see you too, Edson. Always a pleasure. The Swan, what is going on, The Swan? Good to see you. The Swan is joining us from Ireland. Hey, Melee is here. Says, hey, Tom, how are you? I'm doing very well. The Swan says, hi, Tom. Hi, all. Wow, I love the way they do this place up for Christmas. Jet Life says, snowmen would have a hard time in Miami tonight. Gotta tie them down, indeed. What's up, Jet Life? Good to see you. So one of the things that was interesting today when we sort of talk about the market action is one of my I guess I'll preface this by saying one of my really good buddies who spent a lot of time sitting on an institutional trading desk at Goldman for many years. He would always talk about Fed Day, and he would always tell me, he's like, the first move in the market after the Fed speaks is usually the wrong move. Which means usually markets will move in the opposite direction. So for tomorrow, you know, even though everybody was excited today, a big rally day on Wall Street, what I think we need to see is follow through on even more volume. But for me, if I had to make a conclusive opinion about today's market action, I think that essentially money managers and institutional investors are not believing Fed Chair Jerome Powell when he says that he's going to taper and sort of, cast away inflation. I don't think they're buying it. You saw a lot of money go back into very high beta growth stocks, which have sold off over the past couple weeks. So this could very well be the start of that Santa Claus rally today. But we have to watch the market for tomorrow. Hey, Guzman says, how are you, Tom? Good to see you tonight. What's up, Guzman? Good to see you as well. Hey, John Rambo is here. Says Rambo has entered the chat. Howdy. What's going on? Phyllis says hello. LL. British Gray is here. Says good Wednesday evening, Tom. Good Wednesday evening. So it looks like this is going to be some big development here in downtown Miami. This is the Paramount. And this is One Museum Tower, I believe, this one right in front of us. Hey, Guzman says, hi, Tom. How are you? Good to see you tonight. Good to see you too, Guzman. We're going to be taking a walk to the Brickell tonight. Hey, Grant is so tall. Yeah, so I'll give you guys another look at these buildings. I believe this is called One Museum right here in downtown Miami. Hey, running at altitude says extra batteries for the gimbal. We indeed did charge it. Hey, Roland YT says, hey everybody. What's up, Roland YT? Good to see you. We're here in downtown Miami tonight. The very windy downtown Miami. NNB045 says, can you please clarify the reason you said there is a shift towards high beta growth stocks considering the Fed's decision? Yeah, so what we saw in terms of the market action, just in layman's terms, is that all day the market was down. The major equity indices were actually in the red all day. But ever since the Federal Reserve at 2 o'clock, they came out and they were speaking about, number one, they're forecasting at least 3 rate hikes for next year. And they are going to immediately, as they claim, start to reduce the amount of asset purchases. And so as we know, in order to provide liquidity to the financial system, the Federal Reserve buys mortgage-backed securities and U.S. Treasuries, right, to provide liquidity. So you would think that, hearing from Fed Chair Jerome Powell today, you would think that that hawkish terminology, so when somebody on the street talks about being hawkish, that means being very tight on your monetary policy. But when you're talking about dovish, that usually means being very lackadaisical or loose on your monetary policy. So what I think is nobody's buying it. Nobody is sort of believing the Fed that they're going to do everything that they can to sort of ward off of inflation, right? So when we had money redeployed into the market today, and if we look where it went, the majority of the money went into very high beta growth stocks. So as we saw over the past month, we had a lot of money coming out of growth stocks and into the big mega cap tech. And I think that was the market already pricing in these rate hikes that the Fed was forecasting. So that's sort of my logic and thinking there. Hey, Ed Podke, how are you? Good to see you, Ed Podke. This is 3 rate hikes for 2022. Yeah, so that is what the Fed is claiming, right? So we heard from them at 2 o'clock today, and the Fed is forecasting they said at least 3 rate hikes. In my opinion, I'm going to call their bluff. I do not think the Federal Reserve is going to raise rates 3 times next year. I just don't see it. And I think a lot of people out there are thinking the same thing, because what we saw with the market action today, stocks vaulted higher right after Fed Chair Jerome Powell was speaking. So I don't think anybody's buying it, but it's important to watch for follow-through action tomorrow, the next day. Hey, Dino says, hey, Tom, your Behind the Street newsletter is giving Investors Business Daily a run for its money. Hey, I appreciate that, Dino. Slick Rick says, when I grow up, I want to live in Miami. Yeah, I think Miami is a very nice city. Ed Podke says, hope you're doing well. Merry Christmas, Tom. Thank you, Ed Podke. Hey, Jonathan Richards is in the chat. Says, hello, Tom. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. So NNB045 says, is there a time in history where the Fed didn't follow through on its rate hike forecasts? So I think pretty much ever since the 2008 financial crisis, markets essentially have not been allowed to sell off, right? Markets have not been allowed to normalize. So there's so much excess liquidity going on here. So if we think about the very lackadaisical monetary policy of Ben Bernanke, and if we look at the Fed's balance sheet, they have always just continuously continued to buy it all, buy everything. But one of the things, to your point, what's interesting is actually during 2015, I believe it was, the Fed hiked a couple times and the market really didn't pay much attention to it. But a lot of the times what we'll find is that the market is a forward-looking, it's a discounting mechanism into the future. So what I think is that all last month and the month before, when growth stocks were getting hammered, you think about the SaaS stocks, software as a service, or tech in general, these things are getting pounded into the floor. I think that was already priced in for those 3 rate hikes for next year. So the market has a very interesting way of doing that. But we'll see. Hey, Gabriel Laurie says, hey, Skates, man, good to see you. What's up, Gabriel Laurie? Good to see you too. Hey, Photos from Around New York is here. What's up, Photos? Always good to see you. Grant. So Grant from New Zealand. Yeah, this particular area at night, there's not a lot of pedestrians. Mainly because this is everybody's usually in these residences, in these big tall towers where they live. And a lot of people drive in Miami as well. So this is the Miami World Center, the Paramount building. Gabriel Laurie, good to see you. The Swan. Hey, Cheryl's here. Says hi, Tom. Joey says hello. What's up? What's up, Joey? Sunshine After Rain says Miami is beautiful. It definitely is a nice night out tonight. Photos from Around New York says not much. How was the flight? The flight was really good. I think my flight was only about 2 hours, and I want to say 2 hours and 20 minutes. Not bad. Sally says beautiful view, Tom. Good to see you, Dino. Dams blocks is distinct architecture. It's crisp. Yeah, it seems as if there's so much development in downtown Miami, especially in the areas like the Brickell and even South Beach and things like that. But they're building it so close to the water, and it's always known to flood here. So I guess we'll have to see how that plays out going forward. Like, I think everywhere you see these big walls here, it's going to be all new development. So very interesting. But this is the Paramount building. I'll show you guys the top. We had a beautiful, almost full moon out tonight. Gabriel Laurie says Lower Manhattan used to be like that too, nobody around. Yeah, so Lower Manhattan was mainly the financial district, which it still is called that, but the vast majority of the large banking institutions have now moved up to Park Avenue, and there's actually a lot of residences now on Wall Street. So there's actually a lot of luxury apartment buildings on Wall Street. Alana says, weren't you just in New York 2 days ago? Yes. I was actually in New York yesterday. We were in New York. Gabriel Laurie says, are you near where the tower collapsed? So I'm not. That is in Surfside. That's in Surfside, which is not too far away from me. But that is horrible what happened there. Alana says, I tested positive for COVID on Tuesday. Wish me luck. Oh my God. Well, I hope, I'm probably pretty much certain that you're going to be all right, assuming that you've had the vaccination and everything, because, I've known a lot of people that have gotten the vaccine and have gotten COVID and they were completely fine. I think that's the purpose. We won't go too much into the vaccine talk, but I think that's the purpose of a vaccine, right? if you get it and you get the disease, you know, it's going to be very mild for you and probably not a problem at all. M size, is our altcoins a good investment? I think there is some projects in the cryptocurrency space that could produce a significant amount of alpha moving forward. I think this is one of those new Lamborghini SUVs or something. But I think the vast majority of the alternative cryptocurrencies, a lot of them are scams or what you call pump and dump schemes. So I would definitely beware of that. Alana says, yeah, vaxxed and all. It just sucks. Had a pretty bad fever on Tuesday night. Almost like a bad sinus infection. Well, I hope you feel better. I mean, that's horrible. I'm so sorry that happened to you. Have you gone to see the doctor yet or no? Ed Paque, agreed. Hey, Miguel, what's going on, Miguel? Hey, Mark Davis is here. Says, good evening there, Tom. Hope all is well with you. Back in Miami. Hello from Toronto. What's up, Mark? Hope you're having a good one. Mark Davis is our medical marijuana expert in the chat from Toronto, Canada. So Mark, how are the restrictions in Canada? Is everything opening up now? Or we were talking about it a little bit yesterday. It seems as if New York City may be going in the opposite direction. We do have some new mandates in place in New York, but I think by and large, things are going to be all right. Netta J says, good evening from Virginia. What is going on? How are you, Netta J? Bill Coleman says, hello, everybody. Good afternoon, Bill. Hope you had a good day today. Miguel says, I think you should go to Brickell or somewhere. Yeah. So Miguel, the Brickell is usually crowded during the day because a lot of people that work on Wall Street or work in technology usually go there for work. Hey Anthony, how are you? I see QBiz here. Says, hey Tom, I'm so used to seeing trash on the ground in New York City streams. It's crazy how it's the complete opposite in Miami. Yeah, New York's definitely a bigger city for sure. Elias says, did you buy any HGTY Haggerty stock when they went live last week? I have been considering jumping in, but wanted to see where it looks headed after the few days. So Alana, I mean, one of my biggest sort of caveats is I'll never buy a new IPO in the first year. Right, so if it's within the first year, I'll never touch the IPO, because in the first year, essentially what initial public offering is, it's the transfer of ownership from the private market to the public market. So there's going to be a ton of volatility with the transfer of ownership from the insiders, the VCs, and the private equity firms to institutional investors on Wall Street, be it mutual funds and things like that. So I always give it a year and then check back up on the stock. So very rarely do I buy a new IPO. Hey, what's up, Alex? Good to see you. This is the 305. Good to see you, Alex. I guess we'll walk down here. I'll show you guys the... So we were just at this building. That is the Paramount building in Miami. Hey, Roy says, good evening, Tom and all. Just noticed that you have 7.3 thousand subscribers. Congrats. Thank you, Roy. Appreciate it. Netta J says, what's the weather like down there? I'll be there next week. So the weather is beautiful here in downtown Miami, but it was raining like crazy a little bit during the day today. But that's usually like that this time of year. It'll rain like crazy for maybe 15 or 20 minutes. And then it'll be perfectly fine. But good to see you, Netta J. Hey, Otto is here. What's up, Otto? Speaking of skateboards, guys, we'll be getting our skateboard very soon. And a microphone. Hey, Marjan Worldwide says, what's up? From Bridgehampton, Tom. What's up, Marjan? We were just talking about the Federal Reserve. We heard from Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell today. Gabriel says, wow, lots of construction. Yeah, there's so much construction here. Even though this is like one of the worst flood zones ever, there's massive construction. Hey, Cynthia Martinez is here. What's up, Cynthia? Good to see you as always. And I see Robert Mohammed. What's up, Robert? Says, hi, Tom. How are you tonight? Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you, too. Alan Wilson and a backpack. So I think I got the backpack. NNB045 says, how does shareholder voting work with institutional investors? Well, I guess that all depends on how much of a position you have in the company, right? There's a lot of investors, and Bill Ackman is actually one of those investors called an activist investor, where they actually look to a portion of a company so they can have voting rights and change the way the company. So board of directors or whatever it may be. So in order to own a certain majority of the business. Hey, Gabriel Lori says Miami has a subway now. Very cool. So I don't think it's called the subway. I think it's called the Metro Mover here in downtown Miami. And it snakes all the way through the city. Hey, Dave says, love construction. Good evening, Tom. What's up, David? Good to see you. Marjan says, hey, Tom, I can recommend Cafe Sazone on 73rd for some good Cuban food. You know, I think I've been there. Is that in North Beach? If it's in North Beach, I think I've been there. It's amazing. It's right on the water. Oh, NNB045. I'll repeat it again. I apologize. So it's NNB45, essentially how it works. A lot of companies or a lot of firms will be activist investors, in which case they want to acquire a certain portion of the company so that they can have voting rights. And that'll impact how the business operates. Crazy. Hey, JK is here. What's going on, JK? What's up, Felix? Flex Stream, how are you? Good to see you. So I think Elton John is going to be here in a couple days. Ron says, hi, Tom. Severe weather to the northwest Illinois. Around 10 looks better there. Yeah, so we had some crazy weather here today. Really crazy. It was extremely rainy in downtown Miami and in Miami in general today. Really rainy. Miguel says clean streets. Yeah, everybody notices that about Miami. Everybody says the streets are so clean. Hey, what's up, Cherry Groove? Good to see you. Yeah, that is true. Hey, Patrick Schultz says hi. What's up, Patrick Schultz? So these are all the electric bikes here. Lisa S says, have you ever seen Billy Joel at Madison Square Garden? I wish. But good to see you, Lisa S. Joe Hernandez says hello from Orlando. What is going on, Joe Hernandez? Good to see you. JK says, are there any rats in Miami? I think I saw one or two, but nowhere near compared to New York. Hey, Shot by Scott says, welcome back, Tom. Thank you, Scott. Wow, check out that moon. That thing is crazy tonight. Sally, good to see you. Hope you're well. And JB, what's going on? I apologize for the wind, everybody. I promise I'm getting a microphone very soon. I apologize. Flex Stream says it's a half moon tonight. Yeah, the moon looks incredibly bright tonight, Flex Stream. Miguel says you should watch your back. No police around. So actually, here's an interesting statistic, Miguel. I'm not sure if you know. Let's see if we can go down a side street. So when you see a lot of police around, that actually means it's probably a very high crime area. And quite the contrary, when you don't see a lot of police, that usually means the area is very, very safe. Even though that may sound weird, but that is very true. NJB says, what's with all the scooters? I think you can rent those to get around the city. They're like electric scooters. Hey, the Mighty Bull is here. It's good to see you. What's up, Mighty Bull? Hope you're well. So now we are on the campus of Miami-Dade College. This is one of my favorite spots here. Yeah. Lee says camera's always watching. What's up, Shot by Scott? Good to see you. So this is Miami-Dade College. Gabriel Laurie says, I love Aventura Mall. It's actually not too far away from my place. I've never been there yet, but it definitely is beautiful nonetheless. Cynthia Martinez is the Wolfson campus location. The Mighty Bull says, Merry Christmas to all the moderators and friends around the world. Thank you, the Mighty Bull. We appreciate you. Marjan says, hey, Tom, would you like to walk? How about trying the Great Saunter next May? Walk the perimeter of Manhattan 32 miles. We may actually have to try that. I think somebody recommended we do that on a skateboard. I'm not sure if it's possible, but maybe we'll try it. Miguel says, did you have your coffee today? Absolutely, I did. Marjan Worldwide says, North Miami is a pretty cool place. Yeah, North Miami is a really good place. The Swan says, I love the trains, but don't like the shape of them. Something out of Star Wars. Yeah, and they're very small too. The trains are very, very small here. It's only like 1 or 2 cars and then that's it. Broadway Mozart, or Broadway Mozart, says if there's police in Rio, it's a danger. If you don't, just don't go there. Jeez. So I always like coming up here and seeing the ticker tape here, which I think is very appropriate for the stream. As today we heard from the Federal Reserve, they're projecting 3 interest rate hikes for next year. We'll see if that's true. Hey, Mark Davis says, Tom, how is your golf game going? So not as good as I'd expect and not as good as I want. I'm a horrible, horrible golfer, Mark. But I think I need to start to improve, especially if I'm going to start taking clients out. Hey, Chris says, hey, Tom. What's up, Chris? Yeah, Miguel, that is ticker tape. It's kind of cool. They have it all around the school. Pretty cool. Lori says, have the Christmas boat parade soon. Ah, yeah. So people were telling me about that. We have a Christmas boat parade here in Miami. Maybe I'll have to check it out. Carol H says, hi, Tom. Miami keeps getting better. What's up, Carol H? Good to see you. And it's very hard to believe, but just 2 hours ago, the rain was massive. It was coming down like crazy here. But this is Miami-Dade campus. Very cool. Hey, Devon Avery says, good evening. What's going on? Do you watch international markets as well? Always found that Japan is good show of where US is going, says Alana. Yeah, so I definitely do keep up on the world indices. But I don't know if I would say Japan is a good indicator on where the US is going. I think that there's an old saying on Wall Street that if the United States gets sick, the world catches a cold, which means if the US economy is not doing good, there's 90% chance that the economies around the world will also not do well. So I think the most important leading indicator to look for is the United States. If the United States isn't doing good, we can pretty much bet that nowhere around the world is going to do good. That's the unfortunate truth of it, but we'll have to see. Alan Wilson says, if you keep your golf skills at that level, you never have to worry about beating a client. Ah, that is true. That is definitely true. What about you, Alan? Do you golf or no? Shot by Scott says, Beeple is better indication of where the US is going. Funny. Hey, Giovanni says, Wolfson campus. Yes. I actually really like it here. NNB045 says, Canada's economy catches a cold when oil prices decrease. Very good point. Alan Wilson says, nope, too much like work. Yeah, I'm not a big golfer, but I think I'm gonna have to be forced to learn at some point. I mean, I know how to golf, but I'm not good at all. Like really, really horrible. NJB's apartment building in the white. I believe all of these are apartment buildings. So I'll give you guys one more look at them. I believe all of these are like luxury apartment buildings. Deborah S says, have you heard more Spanish or Russian? So I believe there's a big Russian community in Sunny Isles Beach, Florida. So every time I'm in that area, I do hear a lot of Russian, but Now, not so much. But I mean, pretty much everybody in Southern Florida speaks Spanish. It's almost a prerequisite. You have to learn Spanish to be here. Yeah, NJB says it could be condos or something like that. Hey, Asia Unscripted says, good evening. What's up, Asia Unscripted? Good to see you. The Mighty Bull says, if you're not a good golfer, don't take clients with you. That is true. Dan Block says, for real, you have to schmooze like that and pretend to lose so you don't lose the sale. That's funny, dude. That's actually a good point. You know, maybe it's actually a benefit that I'm not good at golf. Okay, so Giovanni says the Kendall campus has a pool, baseball field, track, and an auditorium. Wow. Very cool. Yeah, I think I just found the campus maybe a month ago. I never even knew it was here. Maybe we'll have to do a stream during the day to really check it out. Wow, British Gray. 89 degrees. In Tampa, Florida. It wasn't that hot here. Nag says, hello, Tom. What's up, Nag? Good to see you. Miguel says, I assume the Spanish thing is for Hialeah. Guess Miami still speaks English. Well, I mean, in my neighborhood, there's a lot of Spanish speakers. Almost everybody. I would say the vast majority of people. I would still say if you're thinking about moving to Miami, you should probably know at least some Spanish, at least some. And if you don't, you could learn. I think it's a really good opportunity to learn. You know, the best way to learn a language is by speaking it every day. NYC Cherry Group says, Tom, are you happy with your neighbors? Good vibes around your home. Yeah, I'm extremely happy with my neighbors so far. Very helpful people, really down-to-earth people. I live in a very quiet neighborhood here in North Miami Beach. Very quiet, very happy about it. Yeah, take me to the sea. So Spanish is a beautiful language, I agree. NNB045 says, is it safe to say energy stocks have fully priced in Europe's energy crisis? So I don't know. I think so. I'm really terrible at trading pure play energy stocks or even just commodities as well, because energy stocks are very predicated on the underlying commodity, right? So if oil is getting a bid, that usually means, you know, energy stocks and financials will also have a bid as well. Here's a Mighty Bull for the Mighty Bull. Shurjeet AS says, hey Tom, good to see you. Good to see you as well. This looks like a pretty cool place in here. Hey, I think I see the Reaction Kid. Alana says, which is more Christmas in your opinion, New York City or Miami? I think New York City does a lot more to blow it out for the holidays. Yeah, the Mighty Bull says, was that a bull or a monkey? I'm not sure. I think I want to say a bull because it had the horns. Or else it's windier than New York City, absolutely. Well, I think today we had a big storm in Miami, a big storm. Yeah, 85, 95 is pretty windy tonight. Wow, it's insane tonight. But good news, I will be getting a mic very soon. Saludos from Nicaragua. Deborah S.'s all-you-can-eat Argentina meat restaurant. I'm not sure. I have to check out some restaurants now that I'm here. Bark 2 says, hi Tom, looks like there is an ongoing situation at Homestead AR base. Hopefully you are far enough. Be safe. Ooh, I don't know what that is. Yeah, Shot by Scott says, look like a meerkat. Shot by Scott, do you know what that is? The Homestead, I think he meant to say airbase? I don't know. RL says, how was your flight? My flight was really good. What's going on at the airbase? Miguel says, you're right, something going on at Homestead. Does anybody know what's going on at Homestead? Oh, it has been evacuated. Whoa. The Swan says, Tom, is it the same time in New York City as it is in Miami? Yes, it is. We have the same exact time zone. I think there's only one part of Florida that's a different time zone. Wow, Shot by Scott says the airbase has been evacuated. Oh my God, a bomb fell off a jet, prompting it to be evacuated. Jeez, that's horrible. Well, I hope everybody's all right. We'll go down here, check out this. Elizabeth, it's good to see you. Thank you for being here. RL. Bit Cider, how are you? But overall, my flight from New York City to Miami was very good. It was only like 2 hours and 25 minutes. So really, really short, really quick flight. So this is right here, US Highway 1, Biscayne Boulevard. Alana says a 500-pound bomb fell off a grounded F-16 and rolled into an area where other 500-pound bombs are stored. Whoa, dude. That is not good at all. What airline do I usually use? I usually fly Delta. Usually, but it's really just depends upon which one is the cheapest. James Bond says, do those scooters make money? So I would assume that they do. But then again, I'm actually not too sure about. Ooh, what are these? This is about gun violence. Gun violence is preventable. We could save lives from gun violence. Liz WG says, how is Miami's public transportation? Do you need a car to get by? So that's a good question. A lot of people say that you need a car to get by, But in my opinion, I've just been taking public transportation. I've been taking the bus here. I've been taking the trolley, which is this thing right here. And also the Metro Mover, which is this big train that goes throughout the city. Shop by Scott's is, why would they tell the neighbors to stay inside? I'd get out of there real quick. Yeah, well, I mean, that's really bizarre, man. I hope everything's fine over there. Take me to the sea says it did not explode. It just looks like they're taking precautions. Well, that's good. At least, you know, at least this will be a sort of a nothing event. Hopefully, at least. Yeah, TS says shelter in place is usually a standard military precaution. That is true. Deborah S says it's only 25 miles in the city boundaries. It's a small city. So this is near Bayside. Hey, Disney cast member says, I thought you were having Christmas with your parents in New York City. I am. I will. Disney cast member, how are you? Shop by Scott says each one of those white crosses represents someone lost to gun violence in 2021, either in Miami-Dade or Florida. That is crazy. That's wild. I think there's only one part of Florida that has a different time zone than the rest. And I think it's near Pensacola, Florida. NNB045 says, Tom, what is office real estate demand like these days in New York City? So I think the demand is actually going to go up. I'm more optimistic than a lot of other people, so I'm very optimistic about New York City coming back. I think you're also, and I think we did a stream about this too, we're seeing a lot of new leases being signed by major tech companies near the west side of Manhattan and also on Fifth Avenue. I think Microsoft just signed a big deal to have a ton of new space on Fifth Avenue, but also they signed a very big deal to have one of their other offices right here in Miami. So that was the big narrative during COVID, right? Everybody was talking about how New York City is never going to come back and all this sort of nonsense, but I never really believed that narrative. I think you'll always have major cities like New York always come back and be prospering. Yeah, Dams Block says that's insane that that's 1 year. Yeah, once you really visualize it, it's really bizarre. We're so used to hearing just numbers, I think. So when we just hear numbers, it's maybe not as vivid as if you actually see something. Take Me to the Sea says, yes, Pensacola, Florida is Central Time. Fred T says the crime in New York City will be around for years. So, I mean, I think what we've seen over the past year is crime spike in every city. I don't think you've had one city where it was spared in terms of the crime. And I think that's understandable. Obviously, some cities worse than others, but in my opinion, I think that it was mainly due to the pandemic. You know, when you have mass unemployment, usually crime goes up no matter where you are. It doesn't really matter what the city. And it was an unprecedented time that we went through. Hey, what's up, Obama? Hope you're well. Hey, Broadway says, you are an optimist by social choice or by therapeutic indication, perhaps spiritual, or is it something instinctive? So I think by and large, there's been studies that show that if you're an optimist, you'll tend to have relatively or substantial higher levels of success in life if you generally have a positive outlook on things. And I think the people that are optimistic also are more solutions oriented than just complaining about things. And I'd like to say that I'd like to say that I'm more solutions oriented. You know, so if something's not going right at work or in life, you know, I'd much rather like to brainstorm solutions about it than just pestering in it. But I'd say, yeah, being optimistic in general, I think, is a lot better way to live. Fred T says, how is the crime in Miami? So ever since I've been here, everything has been fine. But just like in any major city, you're gonna have crime. So, but from what I've been seeing, everything is fine for me. Yeah, Shot by Scott makes a good point. Says the crazy thing, no matter how far you go back, the headlines are all the same. Like inflation, the statistics just get bigger, but the crises seem to remain. Very true. History has a very funny way of repeating itself. But just like we saw today with the Federal Reserve, we saw very hawkish comments from the Fed, very hawkish, saying that they are going to raise interest rates at least 3 times next year, which I'm not buying it. And I don't think a lot of people on Wall Street will buy it either. So I think the Federal Reserve is going to continue to let inflation spiral out of control. But the good news is we could track this, right? So we could track this and see if the Federal Reserve is telling the truth by looking at the Fed's balance sheet. The Metro movers are really cool. Or else is, do you miss all the trash in the streets in New York? Hey, Dust is here, says I love Elizabeth too. What's up, Dust? Obama says enjoy 1925. Roy S says I will definitely learn from you, Tom, in order to be more optimistic. Elizabeth says, what you're saying is true, Tom. Yeah, about optimism. I think oftentimes it's a waste of energy to not be optimistic or to be pessimistic. But it's not easy all the time to be optimistic, not at all. Or else is Elizabeth Warren versus Elon Musk. Felipe is here. I think Felipe makes a good point. Let's see what Felipe has to say. So Felipe Castro says, good evening, Tom. I believe crime is one thing and violence is another. Shoplifting you see everywhere, but murders not so much. Yeah, Felipe, you make a good point. Carolina Tom says, good evening, Tom. What's up, Carolina Tom? Good to see you. Deborah S says, we need to ride it, indeed. Alana says they need to find a way to block inflation from spiking higher and allow the markets to realign themselves to pre-COVID levels. Well, I think that's sort of where the Federal Reserve is in a rock and a hard place, right? Hey, Dante Rose says, thanks for the stream, Tom. I hope we meet one day. I hope so too. Yeah, so the Federal Reserve, if the Federal Reserve really wanted to do something about inflation, they would have to raise interest rates. They would have to raise interest rates to a level where the stock market would fall probably 70%. So the Federal Reserve is not going to do that. NNB045 says, is the Fed really reporting the truth on its balance sheet, or is it 100% factual? So the Fed has two balance sheets. Hey, Boost 72 says the Federal Reserve is a joke. Wow, this is a windy one tonight, guys. Hey, Puma says Backstreet Boys in Orlando. Deborah S says, LOL, then my home value will drop 99%. So usually, I'm just not sure if anybody can hear me with all the wind. Usually the way it works, Deborah, is statistics show that for every 1% hike in the interest rate, there's a 10% drop in housing prices. Didn't the Fed promise 3 rate hikes about 5 years ago? Yeah, so I think you make a good point. So the overarching point about tonight's stream is that I think the vast majority of people on Wall Street are not buying what the Federal Reserve is saying. I personally do not think that the Federal Reserve is going to raise interest rates 3 times next year, and I don't even think that they're going to taper their asset purchases, in my opinion. So this building is called the Aston Martin building, and I believe it's all. So if anybody's from Miami here, is this building supposed to be all lit up? Or is it going to be like dark like this? Is it going to be like the Paramount building? The Mighty Bull says overpopulation is real and depopulation is real. So a lot of the times we stream from over there, we walk over there. Hey, Sarah G is here. Puma. This is nice residences. What's up, Puma? Market use versus the US dollar. NYC Cherry Group says Tom is at the Bay. I believe it is, but I'm not sure the exact name of it. Maybe Shot by Scott would know. But this is the Aston Martin Residences. Hey, Sunshine New York says, yes, beautiful Miami waterfront. Hi, Tom. What's up, Sunshine? Good to see you as always. So I think that was the most important thing to look for today after the Fed finished signaling to the market that they are going to taper back their purchases of assets. And they said that they are going to raise the interest rate 3 times next year, which I don't believe. Because what we saw right after that is we actually saw the US dollar go down. So usually when the dollar goes down, equities tend to go higher, which creates a risk-on environment. And we saw a lot of money going into high beta growth stocks. And the NASDAQ closed up about 2% or over 2%. Hey, Andrew Lee. What's up, Andrew Lee? Good to see you. Just enjoy the walk. Elizabeth says we got 50-mile-an-hour winds here and incoming storms with the tornadoes. Yeah, Elizabeth, it was crazy windy all day today in Miami, and it was also raining like crazy. Really bad rain. NNB045 says, why does the US dollar and stocks go in opposite directions? Well, usually what happens is when you have a weaker US dollar, that's stock market positive, right? So usually in a flight to safety event, when people want to raise cash, they sell equities and go into dollars. In which case, if everybody is going into dollars all at once, that lifts the value of the US dollar. So 9 times out of 10, or as a general rule, the relative strength of the US dollar, if the dollar is weaker, that is positive for equities. On a relative basis, it's positive for equities. Hey, Daniel G is here. Says, hey, Tom. What's up, Daniel G? Good to see you. This is the Wells Fargo Center here in Miami. Hey, Cosmo Scary. What's up, Cosmo? Good to see you. Hey, Kevin Sunderland is here. What's up, Kevin? Good to see you. Gabriel Laurie says, why has the euro currency been so strong for these years? Well, I think that's really has to do with, in my opinion, is the European Central Bank hasn't been as egregious as the Federal Reserve in printing a bunch of money. I mean, they have been egregious in printing, but not to the extent of the printing from the Federal Reserve, not at all. Hey, Dams Block says, TSA, interesting. Never thought of that before. Hey, TR61 says, hi, Tom. Hope you're having a good night. What's up, TR61? I hope you're having a good night as well. Cosmo Scary says, just took a nap and had a nightmare. Glad to be awake and safe now. Jeez, Cosmo. Daniel G is back in Miami. Indeed, we are. Daniel G is joining us from Buenos Aires, Argentina. The comedian. What's up, comedian? Good to see you. Hey, JK says, good evening, Cosmo. What's up, JK? Miguel says, I'm curious what the Fed did with all the 2008 garbage. I see Soho guy. What's up, Soho? So during 2008, we had Ben Bernanke. And during 2008, the Federal Reserve had to come in and bail out pretty much the world economy by dropping interest rates and printing a bunch of money. So the Federal Reserve did the exact same thing in 2008 that they did during 2020 to keep the markets alive or afloat during the COVID pandemic. So this is pretty much why we've seen, ever since the lows of 2008, we've seen the same thing over and over and over again. We're never allowed to have a prolonged bear market. It's just not allowed to happen. What we do see is every time the markets fall under pressure, the Federal Reserve will drop interest rates and print a bunch of money to stabilize the stock market. So this has led to a quote-unquote buy the dip mentality, where every time the stock market drops, everybody just gets long the market because they know that the Federal Reserve will be there to bail them out. All right, when we walk over this bridge, the wind is going to get brutal, everybody. Obama says the Fed can save the stock market or the dollar, not both. I agree with that, Obama. Felipe Castro says, Tom, what are your thoughts on the book, The Intelligent Investor? I think it's a good book. That's for value investing. And so Benjamin Graham and Warren Buffett are the two that come to mind. But in this sort of environment where we have artificially low interest rates and we have extreme money printing, usually a lot of those value stocks haven't been doing really good. We've been in a pretty turbocharged growth market, but I do think that is pretty much a prerequisite for anybody that wants to learn about investing to read, are the Graham Dodd books are very good. Hey, Field says, hey, Tommy, what's going on? How are you? Looks like we have something going on over here. Obama says I-Series bond paying 7.12%. TSA says the CSI building in the movie. Sarah G says it will be interesting to see what the Fed does in 2022. Well, supposedly they're going to raise rates 3 times. I'm not buying it though. Hey, Shot by Scott says tomorrow's my birthday. Going to be party like it's 2020, staying home and catching up on some rest. Awesome, Scott. Happy birthday, bro. Hey, what's up, Murky? He says lots of police. There are a ton of police here. Guru says, hey Tom, what's up, Guru? Hope you're well, Guru. But there's an old saying on Wall Street, like we talked about before. Usually the first move in the market after the Fed speaks is the wrong move. So it's going to be very important to pay attention to what goes on in the market tomorrow. If we have a big follow-through day and equities rally even more, I think we're going to see a big Santa Claus rally through year-end. TSA says Wall Street Skate Bro, the building with the circle at the top looks like the CSI building in the James Bond movie. Oh, I think it's this one. Maybe we could see from the other side. Maybe you're right. Sunshine New York says, hello everybody, hope you're doing good tonight. I'm doing very well. Hope you're well, Sunshine. So now we are in the Brickell. Where a lot of financial firms are. Shot by Scott says, thanks, bro. Scott, maybe we will. But there's something about Florida police officers. They don't play much. These guys are hardcore down here. Hey, Rich NYC. What's going on, NYC Rich? Good to see you. Says, hey, bro, how are you? I'm doing very well. On this Federal Reserve Day. Wednesday. Yeah, TSA says Miami-Dade County especially. Sunshine New York says, no, they don't. Indeed, they don't. TSA says, watch them live. PD. I'll skip messing with them, and absolutely. Yeah, Murky says they got to deal with a lot of BS. That they do. VA says, what does 600 mean? I think that's the address of the building. Hey, David is here. Says, hey, buddy. What's up, David? Good to see you. Obama says, I think NYPD watches Action Kid live. They probably do. They probably monitor everybody. Take me to see 600 Brickell Avenue. Deborah S says, I keep laughing. Great chat. What about South African corruption and Spain corruption? It closed banking offshore. Well, I think you have corruption everywhere. I think you have corruption everywhere. Hunter Butler says, hey, Tom. What's up, Hunter Butler? Good to see you. Hope you're well. Sarah G says, I love fountains. Me too. Charles Lyons says, how can the palm trees get water if they are surrounded by concrete? So I think they're in these sort of flower pots that have all different things in them. So I think they're very well watered. It rains here quite often, so. Hey, Talvish says, Tom, I'm glad you made it safe back to Miami. Thank you, Talvish. I really do appreciate you saying that. So I think somebody was talking about this building with the big circle in it. Sally's beautiful Christmas tree and lights are beautiful. Deborah S., good to see you. Take Me to See, good to see you. Charles Lyons, good to see you. Disney cast member says they have to be hardcore. Yeah, you're right. Poon Adams says hi, guys. Yeah, this area does look really nice. Yeah, David says tornadoes are coming up around the United States. There was a horrible tornado in the Midwest just recently, a couple days ago. Terrible. Rich says it's time to proclaim Miami as the financial capital of the USA. I don't know about that. But how you doing, Rich? Good to see you. Disney cast member says, my son says that building looks like a game of Connect 4. It kind of does look like a game of Connect 4. Murky says, not yet. Maybe crypto capital of the world. Or of the USA. The Swan says, love the way they do up these trees. Looks very attractive. TSA says, are you normally live in Miami or New York? I thought you said you worked in New York, but now in Miami, so confused. So I'm back and forth between both New York City and Miami. I probably share around the same time, 50-50 split my time between New York City and Miami. The time is split 50-50. So if I have a meeting or something with a client in New York, I'll jump on the plane and go to New York. Flexstream says fly Spirit Airlines. I need that stock to go up. I don't think I would ever... So there's two things that I refuse to do. I would never fly Spirit Airlines, and I'll never take the Megabus ever again. The Megabus is horrible. I'm not sure if anybody's ever been on the Megabus, but that thing is hell. TSA said, do you have homes in both? No, I have a house here in Miami, but my family is from New York. Carol H says, I see St. Jude's Church. David says, are you a Miami or New York resident? Right now I'm a New York resident, but I'm changing it to a Florida resident for the homestead tax exemption. But that's for next year. Talvish says, I'll visit Miami next year. You're gonna have a good time. It's a very fun place here. The Swan says, this place is immaculate. Well done to whomever. Yeah, Murky says JetBlue for the win. Somebody says, any Santa Claus rally picks? Well, you guys know me. I usually don't give out individual stock picks ever. But all I'll say is that I believe that there'll probably be a rotation back into growth out of the big mega cap tech. That's what I think. Yeah, photos from around New York says JetBlue is based out of Queens. I sometimes fly JetBlue. But I believe this time I took Delta, so I got to Delta today. Obama says, I know guys that load Spirit Airlines. They are not anyone I would trust. Oh my God. Ken Kramer says, buy AMD. So Ken Kramer is very, very bullish on semiconductor stocks, which I think I am too overall, especially thinking about all the different types of technology that are going to go on, are going to come out in the next couple of years. Pretty much every new innovative technology is going to require semiconductors or chips. David, I love that, David. David says the question is not which airline is the best, but which airline is the least worst. Oh my gosh. Marzon says, Tom, is your property a single family? How big is your lot? So my property is technically a single family, but I'm getting it zoned for a 2-family. And the house is about 1,200 square feet. So it's a very small house, but it's something I could manage, something I can afford. And also, I think it's going to be pretty easy to fill tenants in the property too, which I've already have a ton of people reaching out. Hey, Fernando Lima says, Delta is my favorite. Hi, friends. Hello from Brazil. Welcome, everybody from Brazil. Remember we walked around this mall, everybody, and we got locked in for a minute? Hey, QBiz says, I literally forgot the megabus even existed. The megabus is horrible. Very, very horrible. TSA says, what do you think the outcome will be when the housing bubble finally comes crashing down? All these people use stimulus and unemployment to buy houses, and I feel that in 2022, life is going to catch up. Yeah, so I think what you're saying, so I get what you're saying, but if we actually look at the data doesn't reflect that. And the data actually reflects a healthier housing market than what you would expect, because the vast majority of people that bought houses during the pandemic were extremely well capitalized. And this is why it's so different than 2008, because not only did everybody, well, not everybody, but the vast majority of people, well, let's just say this, the underwriting on these mortgages are extremely, extremely tight and very, very good. So it's not like in 2008 where they were handing out a mortgage to anybody who applied. You know, these were extremely strict lending standards by a lot of these investment banks. And a lot of real estate agents that I talked to, the majority of sales were either 50% cash down or 100% cash offers. So I would even argue that the people who bought homes during the pandemic were actually more capitalized and better qualified than any time in history. And it's come at a really weird time as well, because you have all of this big wave of cash, everybody wanting to buy a house at the same time, people bidding the price of the house up 3 or 4 times what it's actually worth, multiple bids on a single family house, all while the underwriting on these deals are the most sound it's ever been. QBiz says, yeah, that was funny. We thought Tom was going to have a run with the mall cop. Italian says, beautiful night to be walking out of Miami. Good to have you here. Andrew says, g'day, sorry, quick pop in today. I am all out. Andrew, good to see you. Andrew is our moderator from Australia. Hey, what's up, Out and About? Out and About is joining us from Toronto, Canada. What's up? TSA says not in Pennsylvania. Interesting. So share with us. What about Pennsylvania? Hey, Joyce Carter's here, says hi. Today is a good Wednesday. It is Federal Reserve Wednesday today. RL says Florida has no state tax. That is true. Fernando Lima says your live streaming is excellent. Congratulations. I absolutely love Miami. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. Thank you. So I think these apartment buildings are my favorite. It almost reminds me of the Hudson Yards a little bit right here. TSA says a lot of the income was approved on income that was due to expire. So maybe that could have been ooh, that guy almost got killed on that scooter. That was horrible. I'm glad I didn't catch that on the stream. That was a close call. Out and About says I worked 10 hours today. Oh my God. Yeah, but TSA, I think you make some good points. But I don't think that is the vast majority of people, because essentially what happens is, and maybe, Pennsylvania is a different market, but I could speak for New York and Florida. These markets tend to be very super competitive in like a place like New York, Long Island, New York. And the people here, nobody's going to accept an offer a very, very low amount of money down. It's just not going to happen. If you're coming into the New York market, and you want to put, 3 or 4% down on a property in this environment, not happening. Odds are you're probably not going to get the house. Just because there's so much competition out there. Disney cast member says paying cash for my home with proceeds from the sale of my current home. That's awesome, Disney. That's awesome. Deborah S says, no, it was investors flipping just like those condos. They sit empty just for an asset to keep trading back and forth, says Deborah. Yeah, so Deborah, that's actually a big, I wouldn't say big problem, but that's actually going on a lot in New York City, where a lot of foreign investors or foreign entities, specifically from China, from Russia, from Saudi Arabia, they're buying these multi-billion dollar apartment complexes, and they just sit empty. So a lot of the places on Billionaires Row are sitting completely empty. So you do make a good point, and that's happening here in Miami. They're buying all of this mega luxury real estate, and I think it's probably mainly to park their money offshore. So that's a good observation. But this is Lucid Motors, the electric vehicle company. Hey, Anonymous Dude 123 says happy holidays, Tom and everybody. Happy holidays, Anonymous Dude. Thank you for joining tonight. EOD Cruz says I recently retired from the capital. I love the relocate from Arlington to Florida, Seattle, or California. Very cool. I think those are all good states to relocate. TSA says I can tell you this, we couldn't buy a house. We had $22,000 saved up, and literally it was a on the spot decision. Saw a house and said, give me an hour to think about it, was sold. Yeah, so what I would say is never rush into buying a home, ever. Because quite literally there's a house on every street corner. It's not like that the homes are going to go away. There's a house literally on every street corner in America. So don't get suckered into FOMO and buy a house just because everybody else is buying a house. That's a good way to get yourself into a lot of trouble. And it's a good way to overpay for real estate. Great Edit says, did you watch the Joe Rogan interview? Which Joe Rogan interview are we talking about? Yeah, TSA says it's a 15-year investment of time and money. You're right. It's better to be patient. Hey, Kevin Sunderland, thank you for the $10 super chat. Kevin, I appreciate it. It says stringent loan underwriting makes me as a homeowner and rental property owning more confident in the investment class as a whole. Kevin Sunderland. Yeah, and I think that from an ethics standpoint, if we want to talk about ethics, I think it's important to have strong underwriting practices. But a lot of people, mainly on the left, and not to be political at all, will say that it's discriminatory to have very high lending standards because it'll price some people out of the market. But at the end of the day, if you don't have high regulatory and lending standards or underwriting standards, what you have is you have an environment where you can have a handful of investment banks literally crash the global economy, which we saw in 2008, forcing people to take loans with teaser rates and adjustable rate mortgages. That is not what we want to have in the United States for a sustainable housing market. That is definitely not what we want to do. Dams Blocks ditch those stocks mid-January, perhaps. Well, we'll play it by ear. We're definitely going to play it by ear. TSA says facts. Yeah, for me, it's like at the end of the day, if you don't have extremely strict underwriting standards, you're asking for trouble. Big trouble. Hey, Lost in the Curve is here, dude. What's up, man? This is a good time to buy is in the winter. Less people excited about home buying. Very good tip there, Lost in the Curve. Thank you for the tip. Well, look at this building right in front of us. I like the design of all these big high-rises here. Flex Streams, the movie Margin Call was great about the crash of 2008. Yes, it was. Great Edits is watch the Joe Rogan podcast, Dr. Peter, episode 1747. I'll watch it. If you put the link in the description, I'll definitely watch it. Hey, Dip Indy says hello, Tom and everybody. Anonymous Dudes is very chill music. What's up, Anonymous? Does anybody have the time? Could we get a quick time check in the chat? So I think that's, what is that, the new Jay-Z advertisement for Tiffany? I think so. Thank you, 11:06 p.m.